Good afternoon, I'm Guilbeaux. I am the CIO for UST Healthproof, and I'd like to just take a little bit of time to talk to you about how we actually modernized our security operations for the healthcare industry. I'm not going to go line by line, but basically, quick introduction, some of the common challenges that I think we all face in the healthcare industry, how we solve the problem, and then some key takeaways or some questions that you should be thinking about as you look to modernize your security operations within your own organization. So a little bit about me and my pedigree. I've been in IT and security for about 25 years. I've been in the finance, banking, healthcare, automotive. I've kind of been all over the place. Extensively in audit as well as just security in general. And like I said, now I'm the CIO. I was the CISO for UST Healthproof. I got a bump, at least that's what they tell me anyway. So a little bit about UST Healthproof. So we're actually a IT technology company for the healthcare industry. So that center bubble, the payers' existing infrastructure, we're pretty much end-to-end from provider to payer. Claims, billing, enrollment, risk adjustment, appeals and grievances. The entire ecosystem. We offer BPaaS, we offer SaaS, CRM, the entire solution. And our goal is to be a one-stop shop from a technology perspective. So we connect the systems for the healthcare companies to be able to provide their businesses, do their processing, et cetera. Which means that I needed to build a security program. And what we did is we built that security program on a foundation of 4 pillars: GRC, security operations, application security, data security, identity and access management. And I'm not going to go into what every single one does because I do want to focus on the security operations. But for those of you that are kind of familiar with how the security pillars normally get put together, you'll notice I don't have a specific security architecture or an architecture implementation, because what we do is we take the SMEs from each individual pillar and incorporate them into the projects, into the day-to-day operations. So rather than trying to have what do I want to call it, know-it-all, knowing all things about every piece of technology, we go to the actual SMEs and bring them into the projects. So from a security operations perspective, we obviously have to bring in vulnerability management, penetration testing, forensics, incident management, SIM, that entire stack from a technology, from a people, from a process perspective. And what we had was, well, I'll get to that in a second. So then we also have a compliance overview, right? So supporting the healthcare industry, we are actually business associates for our clients. So we're required to be HIPAA compliant. We're required to provide SOC 1, SOC 2, Type 2s to our clients. We've also journeyed down high trust. We are a R2 certified high trust entity, which for those of you that have been through high trust know that it's no small feat, it's no small journey. But one of the things that I wanted to make sure is that when we redesigned our security operations, that we didn't affect our compliance overview, that we didn't have any negative impacts to our compliance from a HIPAA perspective or negative impact to the controls within our high trust framework. So some common challenges I think that we all deal with from a healthcare perspective. Actually, this is not just healthcare, but in general, cyber attacks, ransomware, it's big. We all know we're a targeted industry, especially in healthcare. I believe last year's numbers indicated that cyber attacks in the healthcare industry were on the rise by nearly 50%, and I think at least 65% of them were ransomware attacks. Obviously, we're all very familiar with probably the largest ransomware attack on the healthcare industry last year. That was I don't think there's anybody in this room that probably wasn't affected by that one. I'm not going to name drop, but we know who I'm talking about. Gen AI. So script kiddies were no big deal 20, even 10 years ago, right? Because they just go grab something. Now with the power of AI, threat actors are utilizing that technology and those tools to enhance their threats, to enhance their capabilities, to find vulnerabilities, exploit vulnerabilities, and get into systems. The threat landscape is still widespread. There's siloed IT. I'm sure there's still some shadow IT that everybody's got in their organizations. And then the lack of interoperability, the ability for us to be able to share data evenly, securely, and singularly across multiple systems. So you have multiple APIs, multiple attack vectors that you have to secure and protect. For us, we were multiple organizations. We've gone through several acquisitions and mergers over the years. And the way I like to say it is the acquisition piece is easy because it's putting your signature on a piece of paper, signing on the dotted line. Let's be honest, the hard part is the merger portion because you have to put all of the technology, you have to put the processes, and you have to put the people together. And in our particular case, we were very uncoordinated. We had 3 different entities running 3 different processes, 3 different sets of technologies from a SIM, a SOAR, from an eyes-on-glass perspective. Real-time visibility wasn't there. So I, for example, have an ID in 3 different systems. I logged in from Las Vegas on Sunday. Normally I log in from Michigan. One system would have detected that I was in Vegas. The other 2 would have not detected that, and there was no real-time correlation. So speed, agility, the ability to quickly respond to any type of incidents, events, or alerts was kind of hampering for us. And it was cost ineffective because we had duplicate technology, duplicate resources, duplicate people, and they weren't cross-communicating with each other. So what we did was we moved to a unified SOC, and the goals of that were to increase efficiency. Again, one process, one set of resources, one pane of glass. Reduce our costs. Why should I be paying for 3 sets of teams, 3 sets of technologies, 3 sets of data storage locations? Improving the accuracy. By coming to a single SOC and a single tool, I now have event correlation, I have incident data, I have all of my logs in a single place, single pane of glass. I can act upon those alerts very quickly. And then obviously reduce my technology footprint. So the way we solve this is we have a sister company called CyberProof, who provides security operations, MDR, XDR, threat vulnerability penetration testing, a whole slew of security services. They're a managed security service provider. So we've partnered with them, and they also use the power of Google. The Google SecOps implementation, that platform, is their back end for correlating and ingesting all of our data sources. So the goal, and we did this in about 6 weeks, we consolidated the 3 SOCs to a single pane of glass. One set of resources, one set of processes, one set of playbooks that were customized to our business and to our environment. Again, we use Google SecOps Enterprise Plus. We have 30 plus, it's about 35 unique log sources. Now, I know some organizations have more than that. 35 unique log sources and probably about 7,000 devices feeding into that SIM. So we consume about 20 terabytes a month of data going into Google SecOps. That's a few billion logs a day to try and correlate and get into a single place. We created about 120 customized rules. Like I said, we looked at the different playbooks across the different parts of the organization that existed. We consolidated them. We took the best of breed of each of them and made a single playbook, a single set of use cases. The nice thing for us is CyberProof came to us with a set of playbooks already generated based off of their experience with the healthcare industry. So the customization was pretty easy for us. It's not like we had to write from the ground up, and we could take the information from our existing playbooks and kind of punch it in or meld it into what we came up with for the final documents. Kind of talked about this a little bit. So we transitioned out of multiple service providers, single unified SOC. The nice thing that I'll tell you that we found from a benefit of moving to the Google SecOps platform, there's a couple of things, right? So not only do you have the power of Google's, quote unquote, I know I'm kind of using one of their terms, but you also get Mandiant on the back end from a threat intel perspective. You also get VirusTotal. And then you also get Google's security playbooks to drive the platform and to help feed the information and feed that threat intelligence and create that counterintelligence. So again, it's not just my team, it's not just a CyberProof team. I'm getting a global organization that's supporting me, and then the use of AI makes searching and teaching the technicians and the SOC team that's the eyes on glass. We were able to train them and adapt them to our environment a lot faster using AI. So with any of the other technologies, you had to know a particular query language. You had to know the exact phrase to write to search for the data, right? With Google's Gemini, you could literally ask, show me all the locations that Hans logged into his laptop in the last 5 days. And it pulls it up on a screen, and it spits it out on a report if you need it. And then it also asks if you want to drill into any correlating data. So it shows Office 365, it shows an Active Directory sync, but then it shows we use CrowdStrike as our AV. It shows any telemetry data from CrowdStrike, as opposed to having to know the exact language for the queries. So as the SOC team learned our environment, learned some of our anomalies, it helped drive those playbooks. And using AI to be able to search through the system and the platform has actually increased our time to response incredibly well. There's no more logged in on system A, over in environment B, maybe there's a correlation in C. It's all on a single pane of glass for us. So I said 3 different solutions, right? We were running Taegis XDR from our previous MSSP, also running Microsoft Sentinel, and then Sumo Logic underneath. We transitioned to, as I said, Google SecOps. We also threw in Wiz, which is our CNAP and our CSPM on top of that to help identify with our vulnerabilities. Comes down to a managed detection response. We went live in 6 weeks. I guess I kind of skipped that, right? So 30-plus log sources, 7,000 devices. We transitioned, or implemented, I should say, from nothing into Google SecOps in roughly 6 weeks, maybe 8 at the most. We ran 6 months simultaneously with everything else. And as of December 31st, I made the decision that we're done with everybody else and we're 100% with CyberProof and on Google SecOps. Doing all of this without affecting our HIPAA compliance, our SOC 1, SOC 2, or our high trust controls. As a matter of fact, we were actually able to recertify our high trust with both sets of controls, and our auditors looked at the information, made comparisons to help guide us to ensure that we didn't drop anything or miss anything in that transition. So it was very seamless for us. Kind of already talked about the differentiation. You've got the Google threat protection, you've got the Mandiant on the back end. It's a single pane of glass. CyberProof they bring a lot of services, a single source. They do a lot of penetration testing for us. They'll do vulnerability assessments. Like I said, you've got the Wiz platform. I believe they've got a new, recently acquired software called Interpress that you can plug in, and it works similar to a CNAP, but it'll tell you where your risks are and where your exposures are, right? We all know that we've got exposures. Sometimes we just don't know exactly where they are. This partnership that we've put together has helped us really open up our eyes on where our exposure, where our risks are, and then in collaboration with them, they've been able to help provide recommendations and work with us to remediate those items and reduce that risk. Some of the things, just kind of going over some of the things that I'm proud of this. Like I said, I reduced the costs. We created the parsers. We've got a single pane of glass. I've got great correlation now. 24/7 MDR if I need it. Well, I do need it. They're there. They receive the level 1. They do the triage. They send it over to us for any of the level 2 of the escalations. Again, reduce costs, reduce my technology footprint. And then some key things that I asked or I put out on the table as we were looking to do a transition and who I wanted to go with from a single source, a single SOC, right? So how do they integrate with our existing security stack? These are things that you want to be thinking about and you want to be asking. Do you have to bring your own tools, or can they plug into what you have? Do you have to have your own SIM? This is an all-in-one package, right? So how does it tie into your ecosystem? How do you leverage AI and Gen AI? Or do you leverage AI and Gen AI? Or do you rely 100% on humans looking at panes of glass, getting bleary-eyed 24/7? How do you ensure your regulatory compliance? How do you ensure my regulatory compliance? Are you willing to be part of my SOC 2 attestation? Are you willing to be part of my high trust? I've dealt with vendors in the past where they give me their SOC 1, SOC 2, or they give me their high trust, and as I evaluate it, I got a head nod over there, you know where I'm going. The controls that exist don't map to what's in my environment or to my needs. So then now I have to go to my internal audit staff and say, we got to go check out a vendor and do a vendor risk management assessment. Where if they will partner with you and be a part of your program, it really makes life a lot easier, especially in something as large as of this type of implementation. Can you provide real-time collaboration and transparency? One of the other benefits that we get is, while CyberProof is partnered with Google, there is collaboration effort where we get a seat at the table to provide input on ways to improve the technology, ways to improve the solution itself. So we're not just a consumer, it's a true partnership where we get input. And then how do you ensure the scalability and the cost effectiveness? What can you plug into? How many APIs do you need? How many systems? What type of log ingestions? If they don't have one, do we need to go write a custom parser? All things and questions that you're going to want to think about as you look at your security operations, if you want to move it, if you want to improve it, where you want to go with it.